Good evening, I'm Adam Yusuf. Welcome and thank you for joining us once again on another exciting edition of the Team Talk Show. This is another Saturday evening, as usual, we hold discussions on social issues and issues related to society for function at an optimal level. Do also like this and every Saturday on our Facebook page at Welkia TV and also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Welkia TV. Today on the program, we are going to hold discussions on rural urban drifts, and we are further going to talk about the causes, the effects, and also the solutions or some possible solutions of rural urban drift or urban migration. I have with me in the studio one remarkable young lady. She's a final year student at Nurul Amin Senior High School. She is Fati Mohammed, and she's going to be our guest for today. Madam Fatima, welcome to the program. Yeah, today we are going to hold discussions on rural urban drifts. Basically, there's something really obvious within our society, within our communities. People migrate from the rural areas to the urban cities. So, first of all, we do want to know what exactly is rural urban drifts.
Okay, rural urban drift can simply be defined as the movement of people from the rural areas to the urban centers due to better living conditions.
So basically, the movement of people from the rural areas to the urban centers due to better living conditions. So yeah, in Ghana, we can cite example like the people migrating from the northern part to the southern part, which is Kumasi and Accra, and other parts of the southern part of Ghana. So now let's talk about what really causes people to take such huge step, because it is something really devastating. How would you say a person suddenly decide to leave its origin to search for a non-realistic job at somewhere else? So our viewers would like to know what exactly is the causes of rural urban migration in Ghana.
One of the causes of rural urban migration in Ghana is the availability of employment opportunities in the urban areas.
So the availability of employment opportunities in the urban areas. Okay, so how would you elaborate on that?
Like, let's take it for instance, people who live at the rural areas don't have enough or adequate job opportunities.
At the rural areas.
Yes, so they migrate from the rural to the urban areas so they can get jobs.
Yeah, so the availability of employment opportunities at the urban centers. Okay, what else?
And also, we can talk about commercialization.
Commercialization. Okay, so how do you explain that?
Yeah, commercializing, like with the point of commercialization, we can say that the availability of ready market.
Mhm.
People who live, let's say, in the northern
Part of
region,
Ghana,
yeah, they cultivate crops like yam and
Cassava.
other food stuff. So they need ready markets so as to sell their products.
Their product. So in this case, we are talking about periodic markets at the rural areas.
Yeah.
And therefore, people look for ready markets at the urban centers, and therefore, yeah, they will migrate from the rural areas to the urban centers. That is true. And what will be the next point?
Like the modernization and changes in the mode of living in the urban areas.
Okay.
Yeah. Like people in the urban areas are considered to be more civilized
Mhm.
than people who live in the rural areas. So those who live in the rural areas are forced to migrate from their origin to the rural urban
To the
areas.
urban centers. So with this, let's talk about some even when we consider the social cultural practices at the rural areas. Yeah, definitely people try to migrate or try to avoid such practices because we are in the modern times and they can't withstand such social cultural practices. So and therefore, yeah, to modernize their standard of living or or to change their way of living. Yeah, for example, at the rural areas, they don't really have access to such, what do we call it, such facilities or even access to better education. Yeah, that is a good point. And what else?
We can talk about industrialization.
Industrialization. Industrialization. Okay, how do you explain that?
Yeah, like the availability of enough industries
Mhm.
to manufacture goods and services
Okay.
for the use of people.
So at this point, you are talking about the available industries at the urban centers.
Yeah.
It can therefore prompt people to leave the rural areas to the urban centers. But in what scenarios, like the employment wise or for the finished products?
Let's say like people who live in the rural areas
Mhm.
can migrate to the urban centers
Yeah.
to search for job, as I said earlier, like
Mhm.
an industry in the
Urban center.
yeah can employ them while they are unemployed in their areas,
Yeah.
so that they can earn a living, like to support their lives,
Yeah,
their
that is true.
families.
That is true. Okay, so employment wise, meaning the availability of industries in the urban centers like the Vortic and the Don Simon and all those Nestle companies like the Melcom. Their availability in the urban centers therefore prompts people to leave the rural areas to the urban centers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with this, I'd like to talk about the manufacturing companies. You know, if people, uh, the rural areas mainly, it is um, primary, like it is a primary sector. Okay, it is the extraction of raw materials, the cropping of food and livestock. So if they need finished goods or finished goods, therefore definitely they will need industries for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, we can talk about the need for food. Yeah. If you cultivate your crop, your cassava in the rural areas, you definitely need a company or an industry to manufacture, transform it to be the need for food. So therefore, people tend to migrate from the rural areas. That is very great. So basically, those are the causes. Or do you have a final point and the causes?
I think that's it.
Yeah. So basically, those are the causes of rural urban drift in Ghana. She did mention about the employment opportunities. People tend to migrate to the urban centers to seek for employment. She did mention about the commercialization, the ready market, and also industrialization, modernization, and change in the mode of living or social benefits and services. So basically, those are the causes of rural urban drift in Ghana. Now let's talk about some of the effects, because the effects are actually uh, troubling. What do you think are some of the effects of rural urban migration?
Yeah, one of the things of rural
And you know,
urban.
let's bear in mind that most of the time there is the energetic forces like the working force, therefore tend to migrate from the rural areas to the urban
Yeah.
centers. So what do you think are some of the consequences of these actions?
One of the consequences of effects of rural urban migration is overcrowding.
Overcrowding in the urban
Urban,
centers.
yeah.
Okay.
People who migrate from the rural centers to the urban areas
Yeah.
become a burden, or yeah, they kind of become a burden on the people who live at the
Urban
urban
center.
centers.
Yeah. So overcrowding. Yeah. Obvious. It's very obvious because the number of people in the rural in the urban centers are actually growing. The population growth is increasing, and imagine those migrating from the rural areas it drastically joining those available in the urban center will definitely increase their population there. So overcrowding as our first point. And what else?
We can also talk about housing problems. People
Homelessness,
migrate,
right?
well,
Homelessness.
yeah,
Okay.
people migrate from the rural areas to the urban centers, like because they don't know, most of them don't know anybody at
Like they
the
don't really have any relatives here.
relatives. Yeah, so they become like homeless. They don't have anywhere to sleep, so they just sleep on the streets and other places.
Yeah, the worst case is people tend to travel from the migrate from the rural areas to the urban centers to even seek for non-realistic job. Or
Yeah,
else they tend to travel or they tend to migrate without knowing they will succeed with a job, without knowing if they will get a place to sleep, and therefore it will lead to you said housing problems, right? Yeah,
yeah.
it will lead to housing
An
problems.
example is like those people who migrated and came here, like they don't have any job, so they opted for the kaya you and other jobs.
Yeah. Those migrating from let's say Tamale to Kumasi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it offers cheap labor, and that is also an effect.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Another effect can be unemployment.
Unemployment. Yeah,
Due to the high rate of the population in the urban
embassy.
centers.
Yeah.
So it tends to like make some people unemployed because there are no more job opportunities for
Yeah.
them to occupied, so
Yeah.
they become a better like
Yeah.
yeah.
So unemployment, yeah, that is what I was actually talking about. Since there is unemployment, it will lead to cheap labor. People will tend to engage in activities which will not even offer them the best of their services, like the car you and those who do the truck and the porters. Yeah, and what else?
We can also talk about poor health, like poor health and spread of diseases.
Poor health and spread of diseases. Okay, how do you explain that?
Like because the migrants do not have any place to sleep, so like they don't have the enough money or funds to
Yeah.
cater for themselves and their health, so
Yeah.
they tend to become sick, and it sometimes spreads to people who stay at the
Yeah, it is something really problematic. And when we look at it from that dimension, or from that perspective, it has to be true. Because if someone who is homeless gets affected by, let's consider the coronavirus pandemic. If someone who is homeless gets infected, it is easy to affect those in the community. Yeah. But in this case, we are talking about even those migrants or those migrating from the rural areas themselves. They tend to experience this poor health and poor way of living after all they sleep outside. And outside, most of them sleep at the marketplaces. You see, a few kilometers away from the gutters, so definitely there will be health problems and um, spread of diseases. Okay, what else?
We can also talk about urban crime.
Urban crime. Okay, so the rampant increase in crime
Yeah.
at the urban centers. Okay.
Let's say like the people who migrate from their areas to the urban centers. Some of them don't have jobs to do, so they rather go in for robbery and other like yeah.
Yeah, even that is true. Yeah, because they don't really have any job to do. Therefore, they have to find the easiest way to make it. Therefore, they will attack people. Okay. And what will be your final point under the effects of rural environment?
We can also talk about water and sanitation problems.
Water and sanitation problems. And how would you explain that?
Like because like we Ghanaians or we black people, we
Yeah.
have that mindset
Mhm.
of if something does not belong to me, I don't have to take it.
Yeah, I
Care
don't
of
really
it.
care. That is very true. We have this apathy towards work.
So because some of them don't have places to sleep or are homeless, like they tend to litter around, like they do anything they wishes.
Yeah.
In terms of sanitation, like and other stuff.
Okay, so water and sanitation problems. Yeah, of course. Because if someone who is homeless feels like I need to defecate, obviously there is the gutter nearby. They will just sort of um, litter everywhere and spread and sort of cause environmental pollution. Okay, so basically those are the effects of rural urban drift. She did mention about some some major effects or consequences like the housing problems like homelessness and also overcrowding at the urban centers. She did mention about the unemployment rate will increase or rise since people at the urban centers are even struggling. And when people from the rural areas are to add up, it will definitely lead to unemployment or the employment rate will rise. She did mention about the poor health and spread of diseases, and this is very obvious due to the homelessness population. And she also did mention about the urban crime and the water and sanitation problems. Both are all are considered as effects of rural urban drift in Ghana. Now let's talk about some impressive solutions, and I think that will be a concluding part of the day. But before that, I'd like to I would like to use this opportunity to give our audience an excellent opportunity to showcase your brand and businesses. You can be a sponsor or a co-sponsor of this program by visiting our Facebook page as Care TV for our members, and you can also bring up all your advertisements for us, and we can also collaborate and engage in all sort of advertisements on our Facebook page as Care TV. Now let's move on to our concluding part of the day. Let's talk about the solutions of rural urban drift. What do you think are some of the solutions? How can people or how can the government weather the storm?
We can talk about the creation of job opportunities
The creation of job opportunities, meaning the government should okay, the creation of job opportunities in the rural areas or the urban centers?
in the urban,
In the,
rural
in the
rather.
rural areas.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say, for example, for instance, in Ghana, those migrating are mainly from the Tamale and Wa and the Upper East and the Upper West. So you're actually saying that the government should increase job opportunities at those areas, at, let's say, the northern part of Ghana. Okay, okay, but in this case, when we talk about the creation of job opportunities, yeah, it can be because since mainly it is a primary way of or the primary sector there, since they have raw materials, the government can just create industries and kind of give them the room to work. Yeah, that is good. So the creation of job opportunities at the rural areas. And what else?
We can talk about provision of adequate social amenities and healthcare facilities.
Yeah, since people migrate for better health services and social amenities. How do you explain that?
Let's take it for instance. In the effect,
Yeah, in the effect.
we talked about the spread of diseases.
Mhm.
So if the government provides enough healthcare facilities and social amenities,
Yeah.
like it will help reduce the spread of diseases that the migrants will.
Yeah. So it can help. It can serve as a sort of control. Yeah, the provision of adequate social amenities and healthcare facilities as a point or as a measure to help solve rural urban drift in Ghana. And what else?
Provision of reliable water supply.
The provision of reliable water supply.
Yeah.
Yeah, the provision of potable drinking water at the rural areas.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you expand on that?
Like, let's say if the people in the rural areas are being taken care of very well,
Yeah,
they will not migrate from their origin to another place.
yeah, that is very true. Because I think last year a report came out. There is a village in Tamale, I think Nanumba. They didn't have any water to drink, and it was really devastating. So therefore, people, you see, in a condition where people don't have better services, they will definitely migrate for better services. So the provision of reliable water supply can be a source of solution to such problems. Okay, what else?
Also, the government needs to increase industrialization in the rural areas.
The government should increase industrialization in the rural areas. Yeah, as we were discussing earlier, how do you explain that?
Because the people living in the rural areas are mainly farmers and they engage in primary production.
Yeah,
They need industries to manufacture their goods.
yeah, to finish goods.
Yeah, so as to sell it to other people. So the government can increase industries, the availability of industries
Yeah.
in the rural areas.
Yeah, that is true. So the provision of to increase industrialization in the rural areas can also serve as a solution to rural urban drift. And so basically those are the some impressive solutions. I guess they mentioned about the um, provision of reliable water supply, the provision of adequate social amenities and healthcare facilities, to increase industrialization and the creation of job opportunities can all help to control or to reduce the rate at which people migrate from the rural areas to the urban centers of Ghana. And okay, so what advice would you give to, let's say, someone thinking of migrating from the rural areas to the urban center, or someone who is a migrant who is already here in the urban center seeking for non-realistic job or in all of these poor conditions? How would you advise them? Would you advise them to be creative at the rural areas, or what kind of advice do you have for them?
Like people who are willing to migrate from their origin to the urban centers,
Yeah.
they have to be in their place so as to help generate income or like develop their places where
Yeah.
they are,
Yeah.
and also like the migrants who are here, they
Mhm.
can do something beneficial to help themselves and their relatives who are back home.
Yeah, yeah. So that's our advice for today. It is to be creative or to help find possible solutions instead of migrating and creating um, a harsh community at the urban centers. So basically, that is all for our discussion for today. We held discussions on the rural urban drift in Ghana. We did talk about the causes, and among the causes, we did mention about the employment opportunities, the social benefits and services, commercialization, industrialization, and modernization and change in the mode of living. With the effect, we did talk about the housing problems, overcrowding, unemployment rates will increase, the water and sanitation problems, and also the urban crime in the urban centers. With the solutions, we mentioned about the provision of essential services and also the creation of job opportunities in the urban centers to help control the rate at which people migrate from the rural areas to the urban centers. So basically, that's it for today, and we hope to see you next weekend on the Teen Talk Show on Saturday, live on our Facebook page at Wokia TV. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for content like this. It is bye for now.